special guest,
a modern-day Franklin Pierce.
This is the Power Motion Picnic Hour.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Power Motion Picnic Hour. As always, I'm your host, Dave, and as always, beside me, many miles away, is...
Trevor.
That's right, because we do this through the miracle of modern technology, and we're not actually right beside each other, not physically.
Not physically. Always spiritually.
Spiritually very close.
Yes.
Last week, very close, running a race before we got to talk about it. But yeah, this week, far apart.
Yeah, we were, as we crossed the finish line, we were about as close as we could be as we clasped hands and crossed the line at the Brooklyn 5K. But we're many hundred miles apart now.
Yeah, and you're even farther than usual. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Intervale, New Hampshire.
That sounds nice. And what brings you to that lovely part of the country?
I'm doing a race tomorrow, the Presidential Traverse.
Wow. So this is an exciting episode right off the bat, I think.
Pre-race episode, yeah. And we previewed it a little bit last time, so we'll see how much of that we get to. We certainly have some regular business, but I think we talked about, this is interesting because it's the night before a big event, and sort of we'll talk about expectations, and then we'll get to see probably on the next episode how it actually went.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a two-parter, and it's going to have a cliffhanger. Spoiler alert: we won't know the results of tomorrow's race at the end of tonight's episode.
No, we won't. But it's exciting.
Yeah, it might be the most exciting pre-race episode since our pilot, which was just before the Providence Marathon.
Just before Providence, yeah, because we had a couple big events, each of us this year, and Providence was your first. This is
your second big one, I'd say.
This is the second big one, but the first of like the two marquee sort of big ones for the year.
Yeah.
The next one coming up in September.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm here in Intervale, and just happy to be on the pod.
Oh my God, happy you're able to pod. Do we want to preview the race off the bat, or do we want to go to some regular pod business before getting down to the nitty gritty of what you're doing up there?
Well, why don't we start with week in running?
Okay.
How was your week in running?
Well, my week in running was pretty good. Mostly, mostly just a few regular, 4, 5, 6 mile runs. I did a 9-mile run, which was nice. I've been mostly running on the treadmill to try to stay out of the oppressive heat that we've had.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, and then maybe most excitingly, today I was able to do my strides for speed exercise.
Oh, as recommended by multiple listeners.
Yep, it was written into the mailbag by our longtime listener, and then by another listener, and then
another listener.
At least 2 listeners suggested strides for speed, and after some really patient explaining by you, I think I finally understood what it was, and I attempted that today on the treadmill as well.
On the treadmill, well, that's a good way to do it, and so I'd love to hear about it. Before we jump into it, we also had a little bit of a rarity here on the Power Motion Picnic Hour, a little outbound mailbag. Yeah, because a question had come up. You had asked quite fairly, what will the strides do for me?
Yeah, seems fair to ask. Reasonable question.
reasonable question. For the scientific mind, and I think we got...
I'm just so inquisitive and full of wonder.
we did get an answer that was a bit more accurate and precise and detailed than my speculation on air last time. So we did circle in on biomechanical recruitment, running economy, effectively doing the strides to raise the bottom floor of your easy running was the response we got back. So the more strides you do, sort of the faster your slow pace will become.
That's exciting. I'd like to get to that place. Yeah, I did like a 20-minute very slow warm up on the treadmill.
Nice.
And then I did I'm supposed to do 30 seconds at like a 7-minute mile pace.
How'd that feel?
Felt fine. Felt
Okay.
fine. Yeah,
I was wondering
8.6 miles per
afterwards
hour.
if I should have told you to go a little bit faster than 7, but I think for the
Maybe.
first one, just to get a feel. Yeah.
So yeah, I did it at 1.5 incline on the treadmill. I was running my slow part at 5.5 miles per
Mm-hmm.
hour, and I would go up to 8.6. And then I was feeling fine. I took about 2 minutes in between each.
Mm-hmm. Good.
But so eventually, I think I was feeling too fine. So like, eventually, I started only going down to 6.1 instead of 5.5.
Okay.
And then after the fifth one, I upped the incline by point 0.5. So I got to
Nice.
2, and I did it again. And so I did anyway. I ended, and so I, and then I, the next time I did the same thing. I upped the incline again. So I did it. I ended up doing it 12 total times. Each time, bumping up the incline one tick.
Nice.
So I got up to because our longtime listener when she wrote in originally said to do it sometimes on hills, and I
Yep.
know I don't think like four clicks of the incline button on a treadmill counts as a hill, but I figured I would just add a little bit of that. So by the end, I was at the 5% incline. Um,
I think that's awesome. I mean, from what I know about it, even a moderate incline like that is very helpful. You can do steeper inclines. You can do these like short bursts of like max effort, like 15 seconds on like very steep stuff, and that's also a good thing to do. But
uh,
I think for starting out your first speed workout, it sounds like you nailed it.
it was super fun, and so maybe if anyone wants to write back in and tell me if I did that remotely correctly, uh, that would be good. But it was great. I would consider it successful, at least for the goal of enjoying myself.
That's the main goal, right? I
Yeah,
think we decided on that.
and you prepared a special playlist for me to listen to while I did it.
Did you listen?
I did, and I mean I listened to the whole thing, and I'm going to try to find it. I don't know where it is, but the only problem was that once I got on the treadmill, my right earbud died immediately, which it has done now for
Ooh.
the past 4 times. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to at some point stride back into the gear shed and pull out a USATF official throwing hammer, smash that thing. Uh,
Re-rate the skull candies, level them down.
Zero. Zero out of 0 units. Sorry, Skull Candy.
It's funny you mentioned that because right now I'm looking at my Beats, whatever they're called, Power Beats. I realized I was incorrectly referring to them as like what I think is a Bose brand, like Soundsport or something.
mhm.
Which Bose are actually great. I've never had a problem with Bose, but these Power Beats Pros, great when they work. And right now I'm taking a gamble that they will charge fully, and I'll be able to use them at least for tomorrow because they just stay in my ear much better than the anchors,
Wow.
which fall out frequently.
Okay, so we'll see. That'll be another exciting thing to hear about in the post race breakdown.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I should make it clear that I didn't want wireless headphones. I had to get these because I got a new phone after 6 years. I try not to replace technology too quickly.
Yeah, to be clear, as far as technology is concerned, we never asked for any of this.
No, yeah, I'd be fine with a Walkman.
Yeah,
I guess that's an option. So
it is.
all
It's
right.
a little bit on the heavy side, but I
I
guess
have one, so maybe I'll try that out next time.
lucky you. Well,
Yeah.
so you listened out of one ear.
Yeah, I listened to that at 1 ear, and the playlist was great. I'm trying to find it.
I was worried that when you said there was a problem, it would have been in reference to like Overgrown Garden by the Brendan Eater ensemble playing like mid stride and you just losing all energy.
So I just got the playlist up. That was one of my favorite songs from the playlist.
Oh,
Over
excellent.
Overgrown Garden by Brendan Eater Ensemble.
He's a composer living in LA and just composes music. The backstory to that album, Cape Cod Cottage, is actually wonderful. He plays Edward Blankman, and the backstory is fiction. I think fictionally that Edward Blankman was like a retired science teacher or something who like moved to to Cape Cod and like wrote all this like minimalist classic music that was like eventually found years later and performed, something like that. It's pretty cool. But I'm not sure how much is real and how much is just sort of made up.
Well, it was pretty great, and I can't wait to listen to the whole thing, and I hope it's all made up. I would definitely say Overgrown Garden by Brendan Eder Ensemble runs.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, we should share this playlist. It was pretty good overall. It was, I think, 14 songs consisting of 13 artists I've never heard of. The one exception being Tony Molina, who
nice.
I'm a big fan of, and I've actually even seen him live.
I love that song.
Once in a while, I still can see her.
Which the one that I put on there, I've been like, the problem with this playlist was it was like probably my top 14 songs of the week that I couldn't decide between, and so I just like threw them on a playlist for you and was like, let's just do it all at once.
Why not? It all runs. My next favorite song was actually the one right before Overgrown Garden, which was Danger Baby by Palm Poco.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad you liked that one. I thought that might run for you.
Yeah, it ran. It kind of sounded like if the Broken Social Scene song Anthems for a 17-Year-Old Girl was recorded in an American Chinese food restaurant.
Yeah, like by Deerhoof or something.
Yeah, it was great. I liked it. I liked it all, I think. So yeah, we'll share that, and I don't have any other standouts. Those are the three standouts, I think. Favorite artist name / song title was "You're My Baby" with 2 of the 3 words spelled wrong by Ricky Eat Acid. So that one was.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's got a little sort of like beat to it. Sort of jazzcore type of feel to it or something.
I was really bummed when the headphones weren't working because I was excited to accompany this exercise with the playlist, but I think this lo-fi collection the listening was enhanced by having one non-working headphone and having the crappy music in the gym PA playing in one ear. I kept the non-functional headphone in though, so it kind of blocked out some of that sound, so I could still mostly just hear half of the stereo mix for your playlist.
Nice. Well, yeah. we can go ahead and just rename the playlist something along the lines of the official like Strides playlist of the Power Motion Picnic Hour. We have a little description of the workout in there too, so our listeners can listen and follow along just like you did.
Yeah. Please try at home and tell us how it works for you. If the exercise is successful, if the songs run, if Overgrown Garden totally kills it halfway for you, or if it enhances your exercise.
I think it's awesome. I think Brandon Eder is going to be very excited to learn that that this album runs.
Yeah, and we'll tag him so he'll be aware at least. In case he didn't know before. In case he didn't
know. Excellent. Well, that was that's like, what was that? That was also our first new segment.
What's it called?
It's called Talking About That Workout That We Just Heard About.
Talking about that workout that we just heard about. I forgot to write a new theme song for that. Although, maybe there's time to do it before editing this episode. So we'll see. Maybe the theme song is gonna pop in right here.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Also, maybe not.
It is amazing if it happened.
Yeah. If that happened, that was super cool. And if not, it's understandable that that's asking a lot.
Yeah.
So I'd say no hard feelings if it doesn't happen.
Well, yeah, it might happen on the next time the segment appears a few episodes from now.
Yeah. As we talked about last week, you never know what's going to happen.
This is really, it's become really advanced podcasting where you're doing like double segments. You're doing, song of the week. You're talking about that workout that we just heard about. You're kind of fitting it all in. You throw Zero Sandals on and something major happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing. It's a real Rube Goldberg
Yeah.
of an experience.
Yeah. Half a gear that's not working.
Yeah, just making it work with despite the 0 units.
Yeah.
I guess
Demoted to 0 units.
and if the rating is 0, units aren't really necessary, are they?
Yeah.
So it's just as
No units of measurement.
yeah, it's a 0 kelvins, and
Yeah.
an absolute 0.
An absolute 0.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like a great weekend running.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how was your weekend running?
It was interesting. Because I was coming into the week feeling a little bit less prepared than I hoped for the big race tomorrow, and had actually a good run on Monday. On Monday, I just sort of like went out and did what sort of like the style and pace I hope to replicate largely tomorrow, which is a lot of just like take it easy, go into fast hiking mode on the uphills, get some speed where I can on the downhills, see where it kind of averages out. And that run felt really good. It was granted it was a much shorter version of it, but then I went out on Tuesday and my legs just felt awful. Like
That's gonna happen.
I was like, oh shit. Like I don't know. Because Monday's workout was not intense. It should not have like crushed me. But I went out again yesterday, so I got three good days of like solid running in, and yesterday, Wednesday, actually, I also did the strides workout with the best.
Oh, how did it? Yeah. So how did it work for you? That was great thinking for you to do it as well.
I thought I'd give it a try. I mean, I had recommended it without really experiencing it. Yeah, it went well. I ended up doing 10 30-second strides on like a 50-minute run, and they all felt pretty good, and I'm feeling good right now. I took today to just sort of rest and travel, and I think I'm ready to go. I'm as ready as I'm going to be. So feeling good.
Wow. Well, maybe that is a good segue into talking about why a rest day today is a good idea, because you're in Intervale, New Hampshire, to run the Presidential Traverse solo.
Solo, yeah. Thankfully, with a lot of help in terms of the setup. So the thing with a run like this is it's point to point, and they do have shuttles and stuff from one side of the range to the other, back to where my car is going to be. But Coach Friend, I was originally going to do the run with. He's not able to do the run, but he is very kind to meet me at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow at sort of the Crawford Depot, which is the terminus where the end's going to run, and he's going to drive me back around to the start.
Wow.
Where I'll do my run, and he'll go do a hike with his daughter who's heading off to college next year. So
cool.
So yeah, he'll be able to spend some time with her. I'll do the Prezi, and I'll have my car waiting for me at the end, which is amazing.
And so real quick, you've mentioned it on previous episodes, but for maybe listeners just starting this week, the Presidential Traverse is what, a 23-mile?
Well, so there's no defined like single route that is the Presidential Traverse. I think the Presidential Traverse involves hitting all of the peaks from Madison to Pierce.
Okay.
And there are multiple ways to do that. There's one that has become sort of the FKT route, which goes up Valley Run. I don't know. It goes up the other side from where I'm going. I'm going up sort of the legacy, sort of like original FKT route. But the other side has one that's like slightly more runnable at the start, but it's less natural. So you have to kind of like, you go up this one trail and then you have to kind of like double back, tag the peak of Madison, and then go do the rest. This one kind of just goes right up over Madison and across. In the middle is Mount Washington, not the tallest peak in the Northeast or in the East Coast, but I think probably the most extreme. Most would agree. And then it finishes on Pierce. There is an option on Pierce to keep going and do one or two more mountains. I'm guessing that's probably not what I'm going to do. I'll probably just go down one of the classic sort of trails of the White Mountains, the Crawford Path, and continue that down to the end. So we'll see. So if I do the route as described there, it's about 19 miles. There's options to make it like 21, 22.
And what's the elevation?
Between like somewhere between like 8,500 and 9,000 feet
Wow.
of gain.
So this is that's a crazy race.
It's a crazy race.
And the peaks are named after U.S. presidents. That's why it's the Presidential Traverse.
I don't know if they're all presidents, but yeah, most of them are. That's why it's the Presidential Traverse.
I like how it's a lot. It's Madison and it's Washington. It's a lot of the heavy hitters,
mm-hmm.
and then I think it's Franklin Pierce.
Oh
and
yeah,
and he's in there just because he's from New Hampshire, right?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing. Yeah.
I don't think if any listeners can tell us something Franklin Pierce did other than being born in a dirt cabin in New Hampshire, please let us know. But I'm not aware.
The only American president from New Hampshire, other than the fictional character in The West Wing, who I think was also from New Hampshire.
Really?
Yeah, the president.
I've never seen it. President Martin Sheen.
President Martin Sheen, yeah.
Nice.
A modern day Franklin Pierce.
I always thought he was supposed to be like a Yankee Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think a Yankee Bill Clinton fashioned in the style of Franklin Pierce.
If only he weren't a fictional character and we could actually vote for this man.
Yeah. Well, some people probably do, so let's be careful. In an era of such deep fakes, we don't want people actually going out and voting for this individual.
That's true, and that's a little bit of a teaser for something coming next year, which will be the Power Motion Picnic Hour presidential endorsement when we finally get to it. But we haven't podcasted during a political season yet, have we?
We haven't. We've stayed relatively clear of religion and politics. We've ostensibly talked mostly about running while veering horribly off topic often.
We've talked about, I think, one politician, which is Bernie Sanders, but that's because he ran a 4:37 mile in high school.
Yes.
And that's, we would talk about anybody who we were aware of who could run that fast of a mile.
Speaking of which, we did sort of in our last episode with Pierce, we learned a lot about race walking, and we sort of postulated on air that the fastest race walking mile probably beat both of our mile times. At least I think I came out with that.
That's what you said.
Yeah, I did say that. I said probably. And so should we tell the listener?
What the fastest walk race mile time is?
Yeah.
It's 5:31:08. I think we both looked it up independently.
See, you've been researching your Tom Bosworth.
Exactly. When I first saw Tom Bosworth, world record holder for race walking, at first I thought it said Tom Bosley, who's the father from the old TV show Happy Days. And I was like, wow, son of a gun. Must have been in his earlier, pre-Happy Days days. But then I saw it was Tom Bosworth, and it was, I think, 6 years ago?
Something like that. So yeah, Tom managed to beat both of us running as a race walker, but not Pierce. Pierce with their 5:13 beat Tom.
Yeah, that is actually, I'm glad that at least somebody from our collection of popular runners is a faster runner than Tom Bosworth is a walker. Yeah.
But it's good to know that there are walkers out there that are that good.
When I was looking it up, my thinking was, whatever this world record is, I will make this my goal for a mile. But then learning that it was 5:31, I don't know if I can do a 5:31. I guess it's still my goal, but it sounds like a harder goal than when I thought it was going to be a slower time.
Let's do it. Let's make it our goal.
Okay.
I mean, it'll take some training. It'll take some more stride workouts. Eventually, we'll need more songs, probably a second playlist, but I think we can do it.
And we should maybe work this into the upcoming community mile that we talk about all the time and have done nothing to plan. But we're still targeting August.
Yeah, we've put it out there in the universe. Other than that, no actual planning.
And I think that's maybe that's the way we'll we won't have like, you won't finish in like first, second, third, fourth. There'll just be two places you could finish, which is faster than Tom Bosworth or slower than Tom Bosworth. And so those are the two options. You know, there's two categories and there's two medals you can get. Everyone gets a medal, but one is not good.
Yeah. Well,
not bad.
See. We can always modify. We don't want people to be disappointed at the community mile when Pierce is the only one to beat Tom.
It's true.
Yeah, unless listener Jim shows up. So maybe a quick shout out to listener Jim. Just completed one of the ultras that we heard about when he was special guest number 1.
Oh, you're talking about popular runner Jim Pergolesi.
Yes, popular runner Jim Pergolesi competed in many on the Jenny. I think got a top 10 finish, running half the race in sandals. And this was like a 50 miler.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I did check in with him because I said I had another outbound mailbag. I said, what was there any satanic themed element to the run? And he said no, and that it was an oversight.
That's great. Wow, that's exciting. I'm glad we're getting these kind of updates.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing we need. Well, that's exciting. I don't know though. I mean, and is he known as a fast mile runner, or is he only known as fast in the 1 to 200 mile range?
I think, that's his specialty, but I think he's one of those rare runners that would also beat Tom Bosworth in a mile.
Well, I hope we find out. And I hope lots of people can do it at the community mile, but also I just hope everybody has a good time.
Everybody has a good time. That's the main measure.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know, we could have some system at the end, like good time or not, and then just some sort of bifurcation there. But anyway, yeah. So I guess, one other mailbag.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Benet, our favorite runner from the Hard Rock, with his famous encounter with the bear, who did not speak French, actually reposted our post as a story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was, I feel like it's a real high point in the history of the Power Motion Picnic Hour. And I would go on to respond to Benet with a poorly Google translated question, so translated into French, that said something like, would you like to come on our non-traditional running podcast, the Power Motion Picnic Hour, which got a scene but no response. So I'm guessing it was just a translation error.
Yeah, so maybe we'll try to learn how to say it in French on air. I've been practicing my French on Duolingo. So maybe next week, since Benet is a listener now, we can assume.
Yes.
We could ask formally at next week's new segment that we're yeah.
Yeah, Benet does not speak great English, so the way Benet listens to Power Motion Picnic Hour is actually through his translator, just listening and sort of then translating it for him.
I see.
I was thinking it would be difficult for us to pull off such a technical thing as not only a special guest, which we already struggle with, but also with a translator. But I guess we'll figure it out. We got to. It's sort of like
my French is good enough.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
What did you take in high school? Spanish?
I took Spanish. Yeah,
I did too. But I've been to France a couple times, and
you associate more with the French language now as a fortissimo in one.
Yeah, I identify more with it, and my ear understands far less of it. But I might know more vocab in French, because French vocab, as Alexander Dumas once said, English is just French mispronounced. So, and it really is, or the other way around. I don't know enough about the development of the languages. That's not my forte. See, French, it's just English. It's all the same words.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
So, I guess a couple things we could do here. I've got, I think we talked a little bit about the controversy. There's no official presidential traverse. There's different variations. You can go north to south, south to north. You can also do it in different seasons. recently there was what would have been an FKT set in winter, but when the GPS file was analyzed, it seemed that in winter you can sort of like cut across what is the established path and like go sort of more like of a direct route. And so there was too much of that where it was just too freeform to qualify. So a decision was made that sort of you have to sort of divide the FKT summer, winter, north, south, like all these different dimensions, because there's no objectively fair way to say like this is the presidential traverse. I personally think it should just be you tag these 9 peaks or whatever it is from like, I don't know, establish like a start and end point that's reasonable, and like otherwise like so much of it there's variables that are always going to be there, weather, all kinds of stuff, right? So yeah. But I'm not the I have no actual say in the matter.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're not deciding, but I think you raise a lot of good points. And as listeners to our adjacent podcast, local ski areas of Massachusetts would know when we go on tangents in that podcast to talk about local ski areas in New Hampshire. I mean, conditions are the whole story, really, with skiing in New Hampshire or Massachusetts.
Yeah, there's a whole. I mean, we could have more conversation about like, every FKT. There's like in the report afterwards, it's like, well, like in the weather was this or that, and could have been better, but like that's never actually the case, right? So you just like that's part of it. But and
that's the no excuses approach to running, which is when you step in a puddle and completely soak your right foot at the midway point of a race, you then go and run your PR.
You run your PR. And tomorrow, all I'm going for is maximum fun. If I'm lucky, I might get an OKT for whatever the date is, July 28th. It might be the only known
nice
presidential time tomorrow. I'm not sure, at least for the classic Dolly Cop to Crawford route. So we'll see. Should we? Do you want to? I mean, I can go in the gear shed. I could take you for a little preview of the pack if.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's. I didn't even think about that, since I'm never running anything this long or this wildernessy.
There was I don't know. I feel like it was an Instagram like meme account maybe. So not a rival podcast or a a friend podcast, but just a meme running account that had some post about like, somebody like being like, oh, like ultra marathons are basically just, they're just like marathons, except for like the snacks are much better and you can just run a lot slower. I thought that was pretty good. And it's basically what tomorrow is. Like I'm hoping to eat some mashed potatoes that I'm about to cook, put them in a little like baby food pouch, and that's probably like a good 400, 500 calories.
You mean you're going to eat that while you're out there?
While I'm out there.
You're going to be taking a bite back. That's good running.
That's good running.
That's a good running.
Because once I get over like 2-3 hours, you have to keep 300, 400 calories per hour.
Oh, sure. I know all about that from being a slower marathon runner.
Slower marathon runner, exactly.
Yeah.
You start pushing the time. So I got some mashed potatoes. I got not part of the taper, actually just part of the effort itself. I got a blueberry muffin I'm pretty excited about. A bunch of goos. I've got a Bobo's, possible future sponsor Bobo's, oat bar.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's got to take Skull Candy's spot on the sponsorship portion of this show.
Yeah. I was about to say something derogatory about Skull Candy, but I came up short. Just in case they're still interested.
Yeah, a grand overture apology would still certainly be welcome. So.
Yeah, I mean the Power Motion Picnic Hour edition that actually corrects the volume and both earpods working issue we're all about that.
Yeah.
But let's see. I mean, I don't know. I guess I mostly wanted to take you through the food. I guess other than that, there's some water.
Do you have any maple goo?
I don't. I'm all out. So I've just got some regular goos. I might squeeze some of the goos into like its own little like mini like 8 to 10 ounce sort of water bottle, and then mix it with some water just so I have like a quick goo like system.
I like that. What about you got bananas?
I got a banana for before. I'll probably eat that on the way to the trail along with some oatmeal.
What are you having when you wake up? Are you gonna have breakfast?
Yeah, I'll eat some oatmeal, a banana. I was thinking about throwing some macadamia nuts, maybe in some yogurt. I don't want to like load up too much, but I'll probably start with like a 400 calorie breakfast, something like that.
This is like an ultra style. I mean, it's an ultra approach to run. Like, and I feel like ultra runners are just like they'll start naming things like what you're naming, but then they're just eating candy and stuff, right? Then they just like we've talked about Swedish fish.
Yeah, I did get a Coca-Cola, which I don't usually drink soda, but I might have that afterwards, or maybe even a little bit tonight. We'll see.
Yeah. I feel like ultra runners are just out there just like eating ring dings and stuff. Just throwing back devil dogs, future sponsored drinks.
Anything for the calories.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I guess this has been a pretty boring gear shed. I thought this was going to be more exciting, but I guess the last thing is...
It wasn't really gear shed. It was more like shopping cart analysis.
Inside the ultra shopping cart.
Yeah.
I've got a relatively new pair of shoes. I mean, we've come up short of reviewing shoes, but I am excited to give the Salomon Ultra Glide 2 pair that I got, and I've been running them the last couple weeks, so I've got 20 plus miles, but I'm pretty excited to take them out tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
I can't wait to hear about that. I'm a big fan of Salomon as a brand, or just their equipment, and I haven't, but when I say that, I should say I'm still skiing the same pair of Salomon skis I bought in 1999, and that's still my primary pair of skis. See, I was saying earlier I don't like to, like I had my last phone for 6 years. Well, I've had my skis for 24 years.
The problem, like we learned with running shoes after we both replaced our 10-year-old running shoes, is that you then just start buying like a bunch of them. So hang on to those skis as long as you can.
Oh yeah, for sure. When I was a kid, my dad was always out there skiing in these Rosignol's that he got in the 70s, and I thought that was crazy. They were. It was absurd, and like now I'm skiing on skis that are much older than what he was on when I was a kid. So yeah, whatever that means, that's what happened.
Well, we still have to. We've kind of talked vaguely about getting you out for a trail run, and I guess there's opportunities to do like sort of some smaller stuff when you're up in my neck of the woods. We can do some of that, but eventually doing an event. I mean, we talked to popular ultra runner Jim Pergolesi about maybe going out to the Adirondacks, the Grand Traverse. I think if we're going to do that, we should work up to it with some smaller stuff. But maybe we can think about that a little bit off pod.
I like that. Yeah, maybe I'll go to REI and just start trying on Salomon trail shoes.
just start trying on shoes.
I enjoyed my experience trying on Zero sandals in the store. So
I mean, best to prepare now. You're going to need it eventually.
Exactly. I think it looks like we're running out of time somehow. This one just flew by.
But yeah, next time we'll have an update. We'll see how the run goes, how the race goes. I don't know. What do we usually say?
You usually say it, but I think this week I'm comfortable.
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, to all our listeners in the U.S. and Belgium, onward.
Your favorite of the few with a
special guest,
a Yankee Bill Clinton.
this is the Power